Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to a little chill Q&A. I kind of got this idea from the wonderful Tim Chuon, if you guys haven't heard of him, which I'm sure you have. I will have his channel linked down below, but he also did one of these like chill, I think when he was doing it, he was putting away his games and stuff while he was answering questions, or it might have been that he was like talking about a specific topic while putting away games and just like hanging out, and I really enjoyed that style of video. So I, as you guys can see, have a little bit of a mess on my hands in my board game room, and I also want to kind of change up my background games a little bit. It's been pretty similar the last few videos, and I would love to like switch it up and feature some other board games behind me. This is the board game like Calyx that is usually behind me, or is always behind me in all of my board game videos. So I want to switch it up and feature some other games behind me. So we're gonna kind of be hanging out, switching views, and answering a bunch of questions. I asked you guys over on my Instagram, which is just at Jenna Rose Beasley. I have considered switching that Instagram to the Board Game Garden, but I do have followers over there that, you know, aren't there for the board games, so I think I should just keep it as my name, which if you guys don't know, my name is Jenna Rose Beasley. And yeah, so I asked you guys on that Instagram, and then I also asked late a few nights ago on the YouTube community tab. So we have some from both places. I'm gonna be going through and answering some of these. There were a few people, like the first question here is, right now, what's your favorite board game? I'm not gonna answer any of like those questions. A few people did ask that, and I'm just going to wait and answer that question in a future video where hopefully Francis has been taking his dandy time with making his top 20. I have my top 20, but he's been taking his dandy time. But when he is finished making his top 20, we're going to be filming a top 20 board games currently video together. So yes, I'm gonna answer it in that video. But the second question is, have you ever played Root? And if so, what is your favorite faction? And fun little fact is, I've never played Root. It's one that I really do want to play, but I am kind of scared of it. It's one of those games that everyone says it's pretty challenging, and it's one of those games that like the more you play it, the better you get at it. So I kind of want to play it for the first time with people that have never played it either. So maybe Francis and I will end up getting it and adding it to our collection. I'd love to try it. And just playing it like the two of us or with friends that have never played it before. But I'm actually gonna look up the factions. And another thing that I've heard about Root is that it's pretty scary. What's the word? There's a lot of confrontation. There's a lot of combat and battling, and I'm not the hugest fan of that in board games. So if there is a faction that is like peaceful, that's the one that I would be. But yeah, let me know if you know any more about Root. I guess I could ask Sam from Lore of the Board, because he's like the all-knowing in Root. But like, what faction do you think matches me as a person? But anyways, that was the second question. And then the third one, speaking of Tim Chuon, he asked, what's the #1 game you'd love to try right now, unreleased or not? It's kind of funny that you asked this, Tim, because probably the #1 game that I want to try right now is probably Dwellings of Eldervale, which is a game that I was introduced to by Tim himself. So that's one that's just very difficult to find right now. But that one has already been released. It's just selling out a lot, and people are waiting for like other print runs of it. But the other one that I would love to try is Gartenbau by 25th Century Games. That is one that just speaks to me in a whole nother level, just because as the Board Game Garden and someone that just loves flowers and just all things pretty and growth and stuff like that, Gartenbau is just literally that in a game. It's about layering tiles and growing flowers from seeds to full flowers and it looks absolutely beautiful and the cover is stunning, and it's just a game that really speaks to me. So yes, two very, very different sides there. We have a beautiful Gartenbau and then we have scary Dwellings of Eldervale, but yeah, both games that I would really, really love to try out. And then also I've been hearing some things about Flamecraft, which is soon hopefully to be coming to retail, so I'm hoping to snatch a copy of Flamecraft soon. I believe it's on pre-order right now on Board Game Bliss, so I might actually snatch a pre-order, maybe, we will see, but Flamecraft looks amazing. It looks adorable. But yeah, I could go on with a list of games that I'm excited to play. But overall, Dwellings of Eldervale, Gartenbau, and then I'll just throw in Flamecraft as well. Can't pick one, y'all. Number one. Can't do it, Tim, I'm sorry. Okay, so I think I've decided that while we answer the next few questions, I think I'm just gonna clear off this entire shelf so we can start from scratch. And then, as you guys can see, I kind of have like one front-facing game and then a pile, then front-facing, pile, just kind of back and forth. So I want to keep with that, but I want to put in some new games facing forward. Even though Isle of Cats is one that we purchased like a month ago and I still have yet to play it. I really need to get Isle of Cats to the table because everyone has loved this game. And I have played it on BGA, but I just needed to get it to the table. Francis doesn't seem too excited to play it. He's not a huge fan of tile laying games, but I can play this solo. It's a little bit bigger of a game, not too big. I find it a little bit more difficult to get to the table, especially right now because I'm super busy with stuff, but I will eventually get this to the table. But anyways, the first question is, what type of theme makes you automatically interested in a game? So I did kind of answer this in my tabletop tag, which if you guys haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. It was actually my first video on this channel, but I answered, what was my answer to that? Either like nature, animal games, and I've heard actually a lot of people since starting the tabletop tag, a lot of people have said that their favorite theme is just something that's unique, and I think I actually agree with that. I think that's a really great way to put it. I just am really, really drawn to a theme that, you know, you typically wouldn't see. Like there are a ton of nature and animal themed games, but, and all of them are amazing and I'm obviously drawn to them, but when I see a theme that just like you've never seen before, like that was the reason why I was attracted to this game right here, which is Athenia Mystic Library, because it has just such an interesting theme to it where you're literally organizing books on a bookshelf. Like how freaking cool is that? So I just really, really enjoy overall when a game has a unique theme. I think that is my new answer, but still nature and animals just always bring me in as well. Next question is, which cons are you planning to go to between here and next year? And this is a really hard question because right now, money is just a little bit tight, and living in Canada and having all of the cons be in the US or in, you know, other countries, it is very difficult to, you know, spend the money on traveling and stuff. But I do think that going to cons and stuff would be really good for, you know, my presence in the board game community and like growing my channel and just like getting into the board game industry a little bit more. I think that would honestly be really, really helpful to start going to cons. So I think I need to start making an effort to go to them. So I do really want to try to go to a few next year. Hopefully, when I say a few, I mean maybe one or two, hopefully. I would really love to go to Gen Con next year, just because wrapping up Gen Con just recently, I've seen so many people talking about their experience and like just how amazing it was. So I'd love to go to Gen Con, and also PAX PAX Unplugged is one that I've heard a lot of good things about as well. We will see what ends up happening. But I am also going to Breakout Con in Toronto, Ontario next year, 100%. That one's just a little bit easier to get to because it's obviously like an hour and a little bit drive away from where we are. So it's a little bit easier to get to. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get to at least 1 or 2 cons next year. Next question is one that's a little bit difficult for me to answer, and that is best games to play with small kids. Unfortunately, we don't really play a ton with small kids. You know, every once in a while we go over to my parents' house, and both of my sisters have younger kids, and they sometimes play games with us. I would say, actually, let me grab Tuki. So this is Tuki here. Both my niece and nephews have really enjoyed playing this game. Basically, you are pretty much just racing to make a specific shape with these blocks, and you're allowed to use these white blocks. They're kind of thought of as invisible. You actually can't see them. You're trying to make the shapes with the colored ones, but you can also use the white ones to assist those colored ones in making the shape on the card. And you're just racing to get that shape first. And the kids really seem to like it. It was on sale on Board Game Bliss for a while. I think we got this for like $15 maybe. So really good deal. It's a fun one. I definitely recommend. Okay, so the next question is favorite games for 2 players. Oh my gosh. We have so many games on the table, but we have empty shelf now. But favorite games for 2 players, Francis and I really enjoy Seven Wonders Duel. Love that one. Also, Fox in the Forest Duet is fantastic. We just recently played that one, as well as Arboretum. Super fun game. I was always scared of Arboretum because everyone says it's very like take that, but it really isn't. It is a beautiful game. It's really fun at 2 players. It's not a 2-player only game. You can play with more, but I prefer it at 2 players, and I really enjoy that one. So those are probably my top 3. Seven Wonders Duel, Fox in the Forest Duet, and Arboretum. But for like bigger games, Francis and I have been enjoying Near and Far together. That is a game from Red Raven Games. We've been really enjoying it 2-player as a campaign. And then also Scythe. Scythe is really good at 2 players. I really enjoy it at 2 players. So yes, hopefully those are good answers for you. Okay, so I kind of want to figure out what games I want to have facing forward. So these are the games that I want people to see, and just like pretty covers. Kind of sucks that I have this at the bottom of a pile, but oh my gosh. This is one that I would love to feature. Francis and I just recently got this. We haven't played it yet, but we really want to play it soon. Spirit Island. Whoa, that scared the crap out of me. That'll be the first one facing forward. Yes, we could probably fit games behind, but our collection is not big enough yet that we really need to put any games behind. But yes, Spirit Island. I think I do want to continue featuring both Above and Below and Near and Far, just because I've been really loving them on the shelf, and they're some of my favorites. So I'm gonna put Above and Below, but I think I'll put it here, like that, and then we'll put Near and Far down here. Or maybe should I just pile all of my Ryan Lockett games? Should I do that? Yeah, I think I'll do that. I do think the next game that I want to pick up is Now or Never. I would really love that one. So the next question is actually one that I'm going to make a full video on, so I'm not going to answer it. But the question was, if you had to pick 5 games to take for a 5-week holiday, what would you take? And Francis and I are actually going to Mexico at the end of this year, and I really want to make a full video on like games that we're going to bring to Mexico, so like smaller travel-friendly games. So I am going to be making a full video on that. And then another question that someone asked was favorite gaming extras, example, fancy dice, organization supplies, upgraded pieces. And I think I'm actually going to make a full series on this type of thing. I haven't really seen a lot of people do this on YouTube, and I think it'd be really, really interesting. But it's basically taking some of our favorite games and deluxifying it. I think I'm going to do this with Wingspan possibly, as well as Concordia. What other games did I want to organize and deluxify? Possibly Above and Below and Near and Far. We will see, but basically I want to take a game that we really, really love and know we want to stay, or we want it to stay in our collection, and organize it. So buy an insert for it and organize it, and then also deluxify some of the components. I think that would be super, super fun. And me being someone that loves organization, I would love to see someone just organize a game. Oof, so good. And then last one on this page is, what is a game that most people love that you didn't enjoy as much? Ooh, this is a hard question. Let me think about it. Well, I put on some games on this shelf. Okay, so while I was putting all of these here, which we're not completely done, but I was trying to decide on a game that I didn't like that a lot of people do, and I think the only ones that I can think of are ones that I've chatted about that I don't like. I will say, like, I am a pretty easy to please person. Like, I will enjoy pretty much any game. Like, if I'm having a good time around the table with the people, the game doesn't really matter as much. But I think Small World is definitely one that I can't. I don't know. I've tried to like it, but I know that a lot of other people don't love it, so it's not one that like a ton of people love that I don't. So that one, as well as Eldritch Horror, is one that we've played like once or twice and I didn't really enjoy it. So those would be the ones that I would say. But like I said, I'm pretty easy to please. Like I'll still play those games, you know? As long as I'm having fun. Next question is most anticipated game, which this is kind of similar to what Tim asked with like #1 game that I'm excited for, unreleased or not, but I think because it's anticipated, I think that's like more unreleased, and I think that one would be Flamecraft. I'm very, very excited for that one. What other one is not released that I'm excited about? Ooh, Septima. Oh, I'm excited for that one. I was like very, very tempted to back it on Kickstarter, but I decided to just wait for retails, so that one I'm very excited about as well. Okay, so I finally finished putting all of the games here. I just kind of changed things up, not too much. A lot of this is pretty similar to what I had before. I kind of just moved it around, but I don't fill in the bottom ones. This one just has some games that we need to play before we get rid of them, but we have still yet to do that. But yeah, I just don't have enough, or we don't have enough games right now to fill in there. And I could take some games from on the shelves over there, but I want those ones to stay full, and then this is kind of where all of the new games go, and it is filling up as we get more new games in. So yes, overall I'm very happy with it. Looks great. But the next question is from the Dragon's Tomb, which, hi, thank you so much for leaving a question. His YouTube channel is absolutely hilarious. Definitely recommend checking it out. But he asked, which board game do you look up to as a father figure? This is such a funny question. I would probably say it's a tie between Brass Birmingham and Scythe, which is just over there. Both of these are very tough, meaty games, but I just love them both so much. And my dad, I love him very much. And you know, he's a strong man, so yeah, both of those are definitely father figure games to me. Such a weird question, but pretty awesome, I will say. Okay, so now that we are finished with the shelf and I'm happy with that, I think I just want to sit here and I want to do some rapid answering of some questions. So the first one is, when you learn a solo version, is it after you learn the multiplayer version or is it simultaneously? So typically I learn a game multiplayer first, and because I've just recently gotten into solo gaming, so a lot of the games that I am playing we've had for a bit, and I'm diving into the solo after we have played these games multiplayer multiple times. So usually it is that I learn the multiplayer and then learn the solo rules after. Typically it is nice to learn the main game first and then dive into the solo rules. Obviously you have to learn the other rules, but the solo just usually adds some additional rules. So I usually do that after, but more recently, I have been buying games to solely play solo. Like, I know they're games that Francis won't necessarily like. He might play the multiplayer with me, but they're ones that I see and say, hey, I would really enjoy that solo. So I purchased them. Like Stardew Valley, I knew that Francis wasn't really interested in that, but I would really enjoy it solo. So I actually learned the solo variant of Stardew Valley, which granted it's only like 1 additional or 2 additional rules than the main game, but I learned that for solo play. I'm also going to do that with Isle of Cats because I know that Francis won't really enjoy that one. I learned the solo play of Cascadia first before we played it multiplayer. I learned Dungeons, Dice, and Danger solo before I played it multiplayer, so it all depends, but really ultimately it is more important to learn or you have to learn the base rules before you can learn the solos. So this is supposed to be rapid, but that was a very long answer, so I apologize. Are there any games you like that you feel are nearly impossible to acquire? Example, founded overseas or out of print. There is one game that I really, really want called Walk and Roll. It is a roll and write that is like an Asian cuisine menu, and it's the cutest thing. It unfortunately is an import game, so I will have to either purchase it from their website overseas, or Board Game Bliss has gotten it in the past in their like import game section, but it's sold out right now. So that one's one that I would love to have, but it is import. Is there any out of print games that I really want? There's one that is hard to get right now, which is Dwellings of Eldervale, like I was mentioning before. I feel like I don't really look into like older games. I really should, because I know that there are a lot of amazing, actually, do you know what one is? Newsfjord by Uwe Rosenberg. That one is out of print, I believe, and I actually was talking to Lookout Games and they said that they should be doing a reprint of Newsfjord in 2024. So that's one for sure that both Francis and I really, really want. That is, I believe, out of print. So yes. Another question from the same person. This is actually a really, really good question. That is, toughest transition going from OG vlogging to creating board game channel content, if any. Honestly, it's pretty similar. Like I just am happy that I've had that experience of, filming in front of a camera and stuff. I have really enjoyed the transition because the sitting down and talking about board games is something that I just love so much. So I find the sitting down and filming for the Board Game Garden really, really easy because it's something that like I genuinely enjoy. Not saying that the other stuff is not what I enjoy. Like I really, really enjoy everything else that I film for my main channel. But that one's just a little bit more difficult to film because it is like filming my life, and sometimes my life is just like not eventful, and I feel like I'm like pushing myself to try to make my life more, exciting when, I really don't need to. But it's always that like back and forth in my head, trying to like think of things to make it more enjoyable for people. But the nice thing about the board game content is that, you're really just talking about board games. Like it's so easy. It's just very, I don't know if intuitive is the right word, but there's always something new to talk about. You don't have to like push to make it more exciting because, it's board games. It's exciting to us here in the hobby, and it always will be. So, and the last one for Instagram is, do you listen to music while you play solo? And if you do, who is on your playlist? So typically I do just listen to like lo-fi music on YouTube. There is Lo-Fi Girl, and also honestly, whenever I'm playing a solo game, I want to feel super cozy, so I just look up like coffee shop lo-fi on YouTube, and there's typically just like live streams of it, or there's like 2-hour long playlists of just like instrumental, relaxing, cozy music. That is always what I listen to when I'm playing solo. And it's usually up in our living room, me wrapped in a blanket, cup of tea, just super, super cozy. So yes, those are all of the questions for Instagram. We're going to quickly go over to the YouTube community tab. So I am only going to answer a few of these ones just because I know that this video is already going to be super, super long. But if you did leave a question and I didn't get to it this time around, definitely leave the same question again. I really want to continue doing these. I have thought about possibly doing live streams of like Q&As. I've been really enjoying Alex over from Board Game Co. He does a lot of these. I believe he's been doing them every Wednesday morning. He goes on live stream on YouTube, which typically I live stream over on Twitch, which if you guys do not know, Francis and I live stream every Tuesday, and I live stream every Sunday playing board games. Tuesday we do 2-player, Sunday I do solo over on Twitch, which is just the Board Game Garden. I always have it linked down below. But I've thought about doing just like sit down live streams on YouTube like Alex, because I really, really enjoy hanging out with him while he does those Q&As. And I feel like that'd be a great way for you guys to ask some of these questions and me to be able to like respond like right away and respond live on a live stream. So anyways, I will be doing more of these. They might be filmed like this one, or they might be live stream, but let's see what kind of questions we have here. A few that I've already answered. Shorty Dancer asked, do you have a couple of favorite board game designers? What is your favorite lunchtime food? And do you play board games online, like on BGA or Yucata? I've never heard of Yucata. To answer that question, yes, I periodically play on BGA. Typically it's like lighter games. I really like playing King Domino and the First Azul I really enjoy over there. I've played Splendor and Welcome to Seven Wonders, just all of like my comfort games I play over there just every once in a while. I actually played the Isle of Cats there as well, but just every once in a while. The first question was, do you have a couple of favorite designers? I think Ryan Lockett is probably one of my favorites. Above and Below has always been one of my favorite games, and I recently just started branching out to other games by him. We purchased Near and Far, which we've just recently started doing a campaign of. We really, really enjoy it, and I'm so, so happy that we ended up getting that one. And then we really enjoy Rome by Ryan Lockett as well, and I really want to start building my Ryan Lockett collection because I just love his games so much. So yes, Ryan Lockett. We have a few Alexander Pfister games that we really enjoy, Great Western Trail and Maracaibo. Who else? Honestly, Jamie Stegmaier. I feel like I'm saying all of like the very well-known basic designers, but they do really make some great games. We really enjoy Scythe. That's like one of our top games, both Francis and I. I really enjoy Viticulture. We've been enjoying Viticulture World, even though I believe Viticulture World wasn't designed by Jamie, but the original Viticulture was. And then both Francis and I really enjoy Caverna, and we want to try more Uwe Rosenberg games. So yes, those are probably all of my faves. Very basic, but that is okay. And then last question from Shorty was, favorite lunchtime food? Honestly, a good sandwich. I love a good sandwich, like just some meat, some cheese, some lettuce, maybe some bacon, mayo on some bread. Ooh, yummy. Really big fan of sandwiches. Honestly, anything between bread, because I really love like grilled cheeses as well. Anyways, oh, my foot is falling asleep. Ow, 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 ow. Next question is kind of funny because Francis and I live streamed Brass Birmingham two nights ago actually. And Iris asked, how do you remember the rules to all of the games you own? I've been finding it to be such a problem as my collection grows. Excited for the video. But it's kind of funny because Francis and I played Brass Birmingham like a month and a half ago when we first received it, and we really enjoyed it, absolutely loved it, but then we weren't able to get it to the table for another month and a half until we decided that we wanted to live stream it. And that was a bad idea because we thought we remembered the rules, but we started the live stream and clearly forgot like more than half of them. So safe to say we are only live streaming games that we know the rules hands down for sure, but I would just say it's very difficult to remember rules to all of the games. Typically when we get a game back to the table, we're going to have to read over some of the rules. Definitely for like the heavier ones for sure, but just trying to get the game to the table as much as possible when you first get it, I feel like is a good way to remember rules. Like trying to get it to the table like a few times within like a small period of time so that you get the rules down in your head and then you won't forget them. So that's a good way to do it, and definitely we have learned from our experience with Brass Birmingham. But it's such a good game. Love that game. Next question is actually super fun, and I feel like I want to make a full video on this, so I'm gonna tell you guys what it is, but I think I'm gonna make a full video on this. But Taylor asked, if you could only keep one game from each row of your board game shelves, what would your collection look like? That sounds like such a fun video, and I feel like everyone in the board game content creator circle should do this because this sounds super fun. Basically just going through each shelf and deciding what game on that shelf I like the most and I want to keep. So I have, how many shelves do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 shelves. So picking one game from each shelf and then having a 14 game collection in the end, that sounds like a lot of fun. So the next question is an interesting one. It is from Room and Board, and he asked, who's your favorite Torontoian whose first name is Chris and last name is George? Well, it's definitely not you. I'm just kidding, Chris. You know you're my favorite, but let's be honest, you're the only Chris George from Toronto that I know, so debatable whether that classifies you as my favorite if you're the only one. Next question is kind of funny. I've already mentioned this game in this video, but they asked, what is the worst game you have ever played? Like, kill it with fire levels of bad. And that is the wonderful game of Small World. I would gladly throw that one out. Burn it to the ground because, you know, I don't enjoy that game at all. So I'm going to answer the last three super quick. One is, what is your least favorite game mechanism and why? My least favorite is anything to do with confrontation. So area control, combat type games. I just want to be left alone. That is really it. That is why it's not my favorite. And then also social deduction is one that I absolutely hate because I cannot lie to save my life. Like I can't do it. My poker face is non-existent and it's scary trying to lie. So yes, don't like those. Next up is, what game do you like to teach more than you like to play? I don't think there's any games that I like to teach more than I like to play. I honestly hate teaching games because it makes me nervous. So I definitely prefer to just sit and listen and then play. And then the last question is, what games are great for beginner couples? Love your channel. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I would say, Dog Lover is very fun. Seven Wonders Duel. I think I've already kind of put in some two-player games at the beginning of this video, but I'm trying to think of like easy ones for beginners. Arboretum is pretty simple to get into. Dog Lover, like I said. Seven Wonders Duel. What's another easy one? Ooh, the Whatnot Cabinet is very fun. Really enjoy the Whatnot Cabinet. And like I mentioned before, the Fox and the Forest duet as well. Okay friends, so that is going to be everything for this video. Hopefully it wasn't too all over the place. I absolutely love answering questions. So like I said, I will maybe be doing these live in the future. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Or I will be just filming more like this in the future. So if I didn't answer your question, definitely keep your eye out for me asking for more questions, either on the YouTube community tab or on my Instagram, which I always have linked down below. It's just at Jenna Rose Beasley. I post lots of board game stuff over there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below any questions. I would love to answer them down there as well. I absolutely love talking to you guys down in the comment section. So yes, also if you're not already part of the Board Game Garden, we'd love to have you. Hit the subscribe button. And yes, I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye friends.